Standing up here right now, addressing all of you, it feels like a moment I've dreamt of.
It had taken me over 40 years to get to where I am now.
The success will not only be mine, but my family's and my communities.
I'm so grateful to the financial women of San Francisco for this opportunity. Organizations like FWSF are such a crucial part of connecting this specific community of women, and I am so grateful to be in your presence today.
That's why I'm triple excited to join the FWSF family to make my dream come true.
My parents brought me to the US from Mexico when I was 3 months old because they wanted, a better future, and they wanted for me to get an education. I am the first one in my family to acquire an education, so they wanted to make sure that bringing me to the United States, I would get an education and be a role model for generations to come. I'm a low-income student, dreamer student, minority, and so far I have been able to overcome all of those challenges because I believe if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. So I have been changed in a positive way and just looking forward, not giving up on my goals and dreams, and making sure that I make my parents proud. My goal is to get my CPA license, be as educated as I possibly can, to go back and educate my people, go to Mexico and do workshops, even little things like financial stability, showing them how to save, little things like that I think would make a great impact.
I feel like I'm living my life in reverse because most of people, they go elementary, middle school, high school, and then they go college. In my case, I went to elementary school and stopped. I was raised in Korea during 60s and 70s, and my parents are hardworking but struggled to make ends meet. I had to work right after elementary school. I worked in a factory for many years, and then I stopped to raise my own family, so that's why there was just so long of a gap. And finally, 5 years ago, my children are all done with their education, so I started my own education, which has been a lifelong dream. My dream is to help immigrant-run small businesses to understand and manage their finance. So that's my goal. Once I graduate, go out and help these people to succeed their dream.
My biggest inspiration is my grandmother. She really inspired me to go back to school after years away from school. She just set a fire, not only for me to go back to school, but for me to help other women who have also lost their way. When I started getting an education, I received all this confidence and strength that I didn't even know was there. I started in fine dining, and I just realized that I was very, very good at sales. There's this certain puzzle in accounting that I just fell in love with and never looked back. I'm going to be starting as an audit intern at Armanino this summer, and that was actually my dream firm from the beginning. I really would like to turn that into a full-time position. I kind of walked into this whole thing a broken woman, and then I walked out a woman with purpose.
I'm really passionate about investing into women's health. Only about 4% of global R&D spend is spent on women's health, and most of the drugs and the contraception methods that we use were invented in kind of the 50s and 60s, and there hasn't been a huge amount of innovation since. Working in a VC arm of GSK, I noticed firsthand how there were so few female partners in biotech VC, and when the decisions are made about what to invest into, there aren't any women sitting there saying that there are needs that aren't being met. I studied science for undergrad, and I love the scientific side, but I realized that without understanding the financial side and how businesses make decisions about what to invest into, I was missing out on a really critical piece of what actually gets new innovations to the market. I'm very passionate about changing that and changing it within my lifetime. So I want to work in women's health investing after finishing up at Stanford.
I majored in translation, and I dreamed of becoming a simultaneous interpreter back in college. But life is filled with unexpected surprises. So during my senior year, I tried my hand at entrepreneurship through Alibaba's marketplace. So I think that whole experience made me realize I have a passion for business, and I really want to come to US. But I didn't have any financial resources or guidance. So I moved to Shanghai, and then just randomly in a cafe, I overheard two people talking about this study abroad coordinator position. In the end, it led to opportunity to work at the international office of a historically Black university in Nashville, Tennessee. That started my journey of this amazing cultural experience. So since then, I've been working with African Americans, Latinos, Europeans, different people from all over the world. I did internship with Walmart in supply chain. I got a degree from University of Notre Dame, got my CPA, and worked as a tax consultant for Deloitte in both the US and Canada. So now I just want to take my career to the next level and become a global deal maker.
I was born and raised in Nairobi, Kenya. In high school, I had an interest in math and business, and post-high school, I decided to pursue my undergraduate in financial economics, so back in Nairobi, Kenya at Strathmore University. And right after my undergraduate, I went ahead and worked at a financial services company. And working with clients, I noticed that there are so many opportunities that many people in Kenya are lacking. I decided that I need to come to the US to do my graduate studies, and I applied to the University of San Francisco exactly 1 year ago, and I was accepted there. 2 to 5 years down the line, I would love to go back home and start my own fintech venture, and the whole idea is just to democratize investments and make it accessible to the underprivileged people, because right now it's just geared towards the wealthy individuals. Through it, my mom has been my strongest support system. She's the one who encouraged me to come here, even despite not having adequate funds to put me through school. But she just said, you do it and we'll figure it out. And so, yes, that's what brought me here.
I think it started when I first entered Berkeley. I began to realize that going to UC Berkeley and living in Berkeley were two very different experiences. I started at a local nonprofit that's just across the street from the university. That was where I helped human trafficking victims. That's how I got involved in helping coaching domestic violence survivors on gaining financial literacy and regaining financial independence. I would have never pursued the career that I was pursuing unless someone had come up to me and presented it as an option or told me that I was capable. I think that helping advise these women has been beneficial for me because it develops a lot of leadership skills, but it's beneficial to them because it shows them that maybe their present situation, that they have the capability to change it. My long-term goal is to open my own investment fund or preside over a fund, and I also want to be a steward of capital.
I learned about taxes from a very young age because my dad would take half of our Halloween candy and call it the daddy tax. At St. Mary's, I have a double major in economics and business analytics, and I also participated in the Technology, Engineering, and Business Certificate program, which was designed to help business students get a background in engineering. So I've also developed this passion for engineering. In the future, I'd really like to be able to be in a career that combines my passions for both finance and engineering while advocating for gender diversity and more female leadership. The reason that I applied for this scholarship is because FWSF has this mission of wanting to advance women in finance, and I believe that I would be an excellent representative of this organization and that my passions align with theirs.
I have witnessed in my family and with my loved ones a lot of trouble with the financial system, and I wanted the cycle of that hardship to end with me. And that's why I'm here today, because I believe to my very core that finance can and should be used as a tool for social good and a tool that can empower communities. My goal, my ambition is to work with financial institutions to make financial products that are more transparent, more values-driven, more ethical. One of the things that I'm doing soon is I will be working with Beneficial State Bank in a fellowship toward product research on a values-driven credit product.
Working in community organizing in DC, I was so incredibly impressed by the ways that the organizing tools that we learned were able to catalyze leadership in people who maybe wouldn't have thought of themselves as leaders otherwise, and was really excited about using that beyond the bounds of just US politics and issue organizing. I did a crowdfunding campaign, found a women's college in Rwanda and a few other organizations there that were interested in piloting it with me, and bought a one-way ticket. The ability to finance one's dreams is perhaps not the sexiest idea, but it's an incredibly important one. And so as I was looking at what those systemic barriers were to change for women in East Africa, but also all over the world, it really led me to think about the financial structures and systems and the way that our money flows. I say this as a Westerner who went to Rwanda and I had my idea funded. That's the dream that I have, that more organizations in emerging markets, that the ideas and dreams of local professionals will be the ones that are able to change those economies and societies. And that's why I want to learn more about investment at Stanford.
At the age of 6, my dad had left the household, though my mom at that time was pregnant. He disappeared out of nowhere, and my mom gave birth. And so she had no time to recover from the whole situation because of our financial need. We would collect pennies to basically buy my sister's diapers because we didn't have any money to spare. As a 6-year-old, noticing the value of 1 cent and just thinking bigger, I realized that over the course of time, I was good with numbers. I do want to help people of my community because a lot of people go through the same thing that me and my family went through at that point in time. Through accounting, you can really, in a way, still live your dream while also helping others.
So I'm a product manager at Square right now and previously was at a startup. In both of those roles, very interested in the intersection of both financial tools and benefits. And so I've worked with gig economy workers in my previous job and currently part-time employees that are employees of Square businesses. And in both of those cases, saw sort of the lack of benefits and financial services for those audiences. My initial interest was in healthcare, but I was learning time and time again that healthcare is actually a financial problem and that if you can't afford your healthcare, it doesn't do any good. And so that's when I became really interested in Fintech. The goal is to create a platform of financial security for people that fall outside of this large traditional employment system. So where you're not getting health benefits from your employer, you're not getting retirement savings, and making that possible for people that are working hourly part-time jobs or in the contract gig economy workforce. I'm really inspired to go to Stanford for my MBA and eventually start a company in that space.
I immigrated from Guangzhou, China at the age of 10. We faced significant economic and housing as well as financial insecurities. Years later, when I decided to come to UC Berkeley, I was determined and motivated to help those fellow classmates who share similar struggles as me. So I was lucky to join an organization called Basic Needs Security, an organization that has the primary mission to eradicate housing and food insecurities on campus. I was able to resolve a budget deficit of over $160,000. And we have surplus funding that was available to keep our food pantry funding available, and I was able to advocate for a wage raise among our staff. This is the moment when I realized that through finance, I can make an impact and empower people's lives.
Here's to strong women. May we know them, may we be them, may we raise them.